Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Type 69-2A. This is a likely limited time offering premium pack vehicle that costs $50 USD and comes with 2,000 Golden Eagles and 15 days of premium time. It is also currently Tier 5 and BR 8.0. This will be a very short review video compared to all of my other reviews just because of the limited time nature of this vehicle. So that said, let's get into it. To start, as always, I'll place its stats here on the side of the screen. Now for how it plays, this is pretty much just going to be like a T-55, except of course Chinese and with slightly better armor, being that there is slat armor around the turret. Now what that means is that this has very good armor relative to other medium tanks of this BR, but of course the 2A does not have any sort of ERA armor, which does become a little bit of a problem, especially in up tiers. Additionally, mobility on this vehicle is fairly decent, not amazing, and it has a middling turret traverse speed at best. The 2A does, however, have a very good cannon, not the greatest, but still very good, and will be able to do pretty much anything that you ask outside of Brawl, being that it has a fairly poor reload speed that's going to be around 9.5 to 10 seconds for most people. In all, however, if you decide to kind of stay on the flanks and act as a support tank, this should be a very good tank for you. Now with that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses. For its strengths, it has a very good cannon that has an excellent variety of ammunition to fit different player preferences and combat situations. Secondly, it has fairly good mobility that is slightly better than the fairly mobile ZTZ-59A. Third, it does have smoke grenade launchers. For its fourth strength, it has a laser rangefinder, which is not necessarily guaranteed at this BR. Beyond this, it has a stabilizer, commander's optics, and can also be part of a devastating 7.7 to 8.3 BR Chinese premium / squadron tank lineup that also includes the WMA 301 and also the excellent squadron vehicle Object 122. And finally, for its strengths, it has premium RP and SL bonuses. And now for its weaknesses, it has a mid-lane turret traverse speed, which will be 15 degrees per second at very best with a fully aced crew. For its second weakness, it has a cramped vehicle interior that decreases post-pen survivability. Third, while the cannon itself is pretty good, it is still 100mm, which is just slightly less than comparable NATO cannons and contributes to slightly lesser amount of post-pen damage. And finally, it has a mediocre reload speed. Now that said, let's get into how I score this vehicle. For its armament, I give the Type 69-2A a 7 out of 10. This tank features a wide range of usable ammunition, including powerful heat FS, APDS, and even APCBC ammunition, as well as of course HE. These will typically be more than sufficient for penetrating and destroying most enemy tanks, though you will start to run into enemies with ERA, meaning that the typically preferred heat FS may be insufficient, and your APDS may not reload quickly enough before you die. Further, it is only 100mm as opposed to the typically better 105mm cannons, and thus suffers a bit in terms of post-pen damage and also ballistics, with the heat FS having 1000 meters per second velocity as opposed to the Type 69-2G, for example, having the better 105mm cannon with its superior heat FS that also has 1200 meters per second velocity. Now for mobility, I give this vehicle a 6 out of 10. The mobility on the 2A is good, and though it isn't the fastest tank in game by any means, it benefits from an upgraded engine over the Type 59. It moves around sufficiently well, but isn't as fast as tanks like the Leopard 1 and similar Western design medium tanks. Now for survivability, I give it a 6 out of 10. The armor on the 2A is fairly good, and though it lacks ERA, of which is becoming more common around this BR, still has a good level of thickness mixed with good sloping. Additionally, while it is not incredibly useful, the 2A also has additional slat armor around the turret, which will help to stop weaker heat FS shells. It will be enough to stop most autocannons with ease, as well as to stop the occasional full-size tank shell, but will struggle against things like heat FS, APF SDS, and ATGMs. The small interior is also troublesome for crew survival, but at least you won't be penned every single time that you're hit. Now overall, I give this vehicle a 6.5 out of 10. The Type 69-2A is essentially an upgraded Type 69, being that it has slat armor around the turret and arguably a better ammunition loadout, swapping an underperforming APF SDS shell with a good APDS shell, as well as adding an APCBC shell. This is a good tank and will end up being a powerful addition to your lineup. It doesn't stand out as a unique tank, but it is still fairly powerful for those that like T-55 style vehicles. Now that said, should you buy this vehicle? Yes and no. I like this tank a lot, but it is largely being sold by Gaijin as a collector's item. If you have the money and would like a slightly better than average average tank, along with 2000 GE and 15 days of premium time, this is a great tank. It supplements an already fantastic 8.0 or so BR lineup for the Chinese and will contribute greatly to the grind for the Chinese ground forces tech tree. It will not be the centerpiece of your lineup, as the WMA 301 and Type 69 2G are better at 8.3 BR than the 2A is at 8.0 BR. Additionally, the 2A is a rank 5, whereas the WMA 301 is a rank 6, as well as the 2G, which will allow you to grind the entirety of the Chinese ground tech tree with it. The WMA 301 is also substantially more up-tierable and has Gen 2 thermals, while the 2A doesn't have any thermals at all and isn't really all too up-tierable. With that said, I do recommend the 2A, but I feel that it is more of an extra vehicle that will become more rare over time rather than something that you really need for the grind. The WMA 301 will still be the vehicle that you want to purchase first, but if you already have it or you're simply a collector, the 2A will do just fine. I personally like the 2A a lot because I enjoy T-55s, and this is pretty much just a straight upgrade over the base level T-55, but this just feels like a way for Gaijin to get you to spend money rather than actually have a unique vehicle. With that said, thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I always appreciate every comment, like, and especially subscription because it helps me so much grow my channel. Either way, thanks again guys, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.